Hi everyone, welcome back sa aking channel. For today's video, we will solve one optimization problem na nanggaling sa FB group na differential and integral calculus. So here is the problem. The upper right hand corner of a piece of paper, 30 centimeters by 20 centimeters is in the figure. Is folded over to the bottom edge. How would you fold the paper so as to minimize the length of the fold? In other words, how would you choose X to minimize Y? Okay, so here is the figure. So ipo-fold natin daw yung corner dito, ipo-fold natin papunta dito. So therefore, itong right triangle na ito ay equal sa right triangle na ito. So this is X and this is Y. So how are we going to choose X so that to minimize Y. So this is the Y. Okay, so if this is X, then finold natin dito. So therefore, it follows that this is also X. So solving the right triangle, so this is Y. So this is a right triangle. So we have right triangle here. So therefore, we can solve the value of this side. Let's say this side is B. Okay, so if this side is B, we can solve the value of this by using the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem states that the square of the hypotenuse is y, opposite ng right angle natin. The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other legs. So we have b squared plus x squared equals y squared. Then solve for b, so we have subtract x to both sides, so we have b squared is equal to y squared minus x squared, and then get the square root of both sides. So therefore, b is equal to plus or minus square root, but we will only use the positive since we are talking about lengths. So we have square root of y squared minus x squared. So therefore, this side b is equal to square root of y squared minus x squared. So we need to find an equation that involves y and x only, so that we can minimize y. Okay? So we have this, and then let's this is x. If this is x, the length of this is 20, and then if we subtract x, so this part will become 20 minus x. So this is also right angle. Okay? Then we can form another right triangle here. If we draw this, so we have right triangle, and then if we let this as theta, and this is beta, therefore, it follows that if this is theta and this is also right triangle, right angle, we have right angle. If this is beta, then this is theta. And then the sum of this, theta plus beta, so that is 180, and the sum of this also 180. The sum of this is 180 since the sum of angles of a right triangle is 180. So therefore, we have theta. Ito naman, we can use this may linear pair tayo or may straight kasi tayo. So therefore, ang sum niyan ay 180 degrees. So therefore, if this is theta, this is beta. So therefore, from the figure, we have similar triangle. So we have similar triangle dito. Meron tayong similar triangle. Itong triangle na ito maliit, tsaka itong triangle na ito ay similar. Kapag similar, ang ratio ng kanilang ng side ay proportional. Okay? So ngayon, kailangan isolve muna natin ito. So ito, meron tayong part nito ay 20. Itong length na ito ay 20. Then meron tayong hypotenuse. So kailangan natin ng longer leg over hypotenuse. Longer leg, tas longer leg 2 over hypotenuse 2. Since similar sila. So ito yung longer leg natin, ito yung right triangle natin, longer leg over hypotenuse, and then for this small triangle naman, longer leg, ito yung longer leg natin. Hindi pa natin alam tong side dito, this is A. A over X. Okay? So we have A over X. So longer leg over the hypotenuse. So for the other right triangle, we have longer leg is 20 over hypotenuse is square root of y squared minus x squared. So we need to solve for the value of a, again using the Pythagorean theorem. So from Pythagorean theorem, the sum of this, the square, a squared plus this side 20 minus x squared. The sum of the square of the legs is equal to the square of the hypotenuse x squared. Then we can solve for a. So we have just apply the square of binomial formula. So we have square of binomial a minus b squared, that's equal to a squared minus twice the product 2ab plus the square of this b squared. Okay, so apply that. So we have 20 times 20, so that is 400, minus 20 times x, 20x times 2, so that is 40x, and then square the second term, we have plus x squared equals x squared. Okay, so now we can solve for a. Solve for a, so we have transpose these terms to the other side of the equation, or we can simply, we have x squared in the left side, we have x squared in the right side, so when we subtract x squared, we can cancel this, and then put this to the other side, transpose lang natin, transpose to the other side, so therefore we have a squared is equal to, add 40x to both sides, so we have 40x, or simply transpose that is negative 400, 40x minus 400. And then solve for a, extract the square root of both sides. Again, we will only use the positive because we're talking about lengths. So 40x minus 400. So this is the value of a, square root of 40x minus 400. So square root of 40x minus 400. So ngayon, kompleto na tayo ng natin, mga kailangan. So we can now apply this similar triangle. So from similar triangle, we have longer leg, so that is 20 over the hypotenuse, square root of hypotenuse of this triangle, y squared minus x squared equals, the longer leg of this is square root of 40, 40x minus 400 over the hypotenuse, that is x. So we have ratio, so just cross multiply, and we can solve for the value of y. So we have 20 times x, so that is 20x, equals, so we have square root of y squared minus x squared times the square root of 40x minus 400. Then, let's eliminate the radical by squaring both sides of the equation. Square both sides of the equation, we have 400x, 20 times 20, 400, x times x, x squared, equals square root of square, so we have, or square of square root, so simply y squared minus x squared, and then square of another square root, so we have 40x minus 400. Then we solve for y, so divide both sides by this term, 40x minus 400, so cancel out, 40x minus 400. So simplify this, 400x squared over 40x minus 400, divide all the numbers by 40. Divisible by 40, so therefore, divide by 40, this will become 10x squared. Divide by 40, so that is 1. Divide by 40, so we have x minus 10. Equals y squared minus x squared. So we need to solve for y. So add x squared to both sides. So we have 10x squared over x minus 10 plus x squared equals y squared. So now let's combine this. Let's put 1 and then apply the butterfly. Yan, when we add fraction, so we use the butterfly technique, the shortcut. So solve for y, so therefore we have, then at the same time, let's interchange. Y squared is equal to, so cross multiply, so we have 10x squared times 1, so that is 10x squared. Plus, cross multiply, so we have x times x squared, so that is x cubed. X squared times negative 10, so that is negative 10x squared. All over just copy the denominator, x minus 10 times 1, so that's still x minus 10. And then simplify the numerator, combine like terms, we have 10x squared minus 10x squared, so that is simply 0. So we have x cubed over x minus 10. So now, we now have an equation that involves y and x. So ayan na, we have equation in terms of that involves y and x, so we can now differentiate. So we will use the derivative. Differentiate both sides, so we will use implicit differentiation since the left side involves y squared. We can extract the square root, but it's easier if we use implicit differentiation. Okay, so differentiate both sides. So we have derivative of y squared with respect to x equals derivative of x cubed over x minus 10 with respect to x. Okay, so derivative of y squared with respect to x, that is simply 2y, and then don't forget the y prime. Okay, equals, we're going to use quotient rule for this. So use quotient rule, so gawin natin ito, derivative of u over v with respect to x is equal to v du with respect to x minus u dv with respect to x all over the denominator square. Okay, so let's apply that. Derivative of v du, so we have x minus 10. Derivative of the numerator, so that is derivative of x cubed, 3x squared, minus the numerator x cubed. Derivative of the denominator x minus 10, that is simply 1. All over the square of the denominator x minus 10 square. So therefore, we have y prime is equal to, so we can divide both sides by 2y, so we have 1 over 2y. So divide both sides by 2y, so 1 over, yeah, we have 1 over 2y times this term, so let's simplify the numerator. So just distribute this 3x squared times x, so we have 3x cubed, 3x squared times negative 10, negative 30x squared, and then we have negative x cubed times 1, we have negative x cubed over x minus 10 squared. Now, set y prime or derivative of y with respect to x equals 0. Okay, so to maximize or minimize, set y prime equals 0. Then simplify the numerator, we have 3x cubed and then minus x cubed, so we have 2x cubed minus 30 x squared over 2y times x minus 10 squared equals 0. Since the denominator or it is equal to 0, if we multiply both sides of the equation by the denominator will be cancelled out. If we multiply both sides by 2y times x minus 10 squared, yan, so the right side will still be 0. So that this term will be cancelled out. So therefore, we have 2x cubed minus 30 x squared equals 0. Next, solve for x. Solve for x, so we can factor out the common. They both have x squared and they both are divisible by 2. So factor out 2x squared. Factor out 2x squared, so we have x minus 15. 15. So factor out 2x squared. So x minus 15 equals 0. So therefore, we have two solutions. We have two values of x. Equate each factor to 0. We have 2x squared equals 0. And then x minus 15 equals 0. 2x squared equals 0. So therefore, x equals 0. And then x minus 15 equals 0. So therefore, x equals 15. This is reject. Extraneous solution, x equals 0. Because when x equals 0, then wala tayong phenol. Hindi natin ma-fold kung wala, if x equals 0. So therefore, the value of x is equal to 15. So the final answer is 15. So to minimize the value of y, this length, to minimize the value of y, the x should be 15. Or shortcut for this type of problem, the answer to this type of problem is just the 1/2 of this 30. So once you see this problem again, so 1/2 of this side 30, the answer is the 1/2 of this, the value of x is 1/2 of 30, 15. So that is the shortcut, and this is how to solve this optimization problem. Okay, so I hope you are satisfied with my explanation. So see you again on my next video tutorial on differential and integral calculus. God bless and bye-bye!